Yo, Beth, that shit crazy.
On a Monday, the Soul Leaving with your boy Barry Grant. I'm so happy to be here. It was a great weekend. A lot of stuff to get into. MLB has a COVID issue. The Jets finally put Jamal Adams out of his misery. We're going to see who won that trade, as well as NFLPA news. The Knicks apparently have a new head coach and signed him for a long time. And the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. We have our first candidate, and boy, oh boy, is it a good one. So let's just jump right into it. Major League Baseball has a COVID issue. It's a big-time crisis at the moment. 15 players on the Miami Marlins have tested positive for COVID-19, and they've postponed a few games. The Phillies, who played the Marlins, they're all on lockdown, and they all have to get tested now. It's a gigantic mess. David Price, who's opted out of the season, is very, very critical of Rob Manfred at this moment, saying that the reason why he sat out is that he did not believe that Major League Baseball had the players' safety as the main concern. You have Dave Martinez, which is the manager of the reigning, defending World Series champions. He is scared for his life. He's come out and said, I fear for my players. I fear for my family. I am very, very scared right now. So there's mass panic going on in Major League Baseball. What to do? According to Bob Nightingale on Twitter, MLB had their conference meeting today, and they're not planning to shut down. This is not going to cause Major League Baseball to shut down. But what it is going to cause is a lot of backlash. It's going to cause a lot of second guessing on a lot of people's parts. Why wasn't there a bubble situation? Could Major League Baseball have done more? The answer is, yeah, of course they can do more. A league can always do more, but was it plausible for them to do? Could a bubble work for Major League Baseball? Where would that bubble take place? Where would it be? All of this is just giving me a headache because Major League Baseball should have really took the time to figure all of this out prior to the season starting. They were so adamant on getting the season started that did they put in proper protocols to make sure that this didn't happen? Like the fact that every team can be able to be in their own home park, while there's plenty of cities out in America right now that have a huge COVID spike. Doesn't that go hand in hand? Didn't Manfred think this out? Maybe a bubble situation was the only way to make this work. Like really and truly, is anybody actually surprised that the first big outbreak happened in Florida? No. So maybe what Manfred should have did is take the Florida team and put them somewhere else. Have them have a different park. Remove them away from that particular hotspot. Put them in a region that doesn't have so many cases. You know, that can definitely help decrease your chances of having this type of outbreak happen. So I'm really disappointed that this wasn't something that was talked about, finalized, and was ready to go. Just when everything was looking so positive for baseball, disaster strikes. This happens. And you're kind of wondering, is Manfred cursed? Because it seems like everything that this guy touches when it comes to baseball doesn't work. Now, it's very premature. You know, we're definitely playing armchair quarterback right now and probably overreacting. But the facts are the facts. They have an outbreak right now that they hopefully can contain, but it really does not look good for Major League Baseball right now, optics-wise. It's bad enough your sport is struggling to maintain its position in American sports right now. You can't have a backfire here. So I'm hoping that they go ahead and really fix this. Don't rush back into games unless you really have a plan in place. If you have to delay the season, you know, a couple days, you know, 4 or 5 games, I don't think that that's a huge deal. I think the safety of the players is the most important thing right now. If the players don't feel safe playing, there's not going to be a baseball season. This will end today or later this week or later this month. And then Rob Manfred is going to be the one holding the bag, having that deer in the headlights look that he always has, no matter if he's happy or depressed or when he's trying to look like an authority figure. He just has this confused look on his face, and I can already tell that's how the negotiations go. I'm really hopeful for Major League Baseball. I'm down on Manfred right now. I was up on him last week. I'm a little down on him right now, but let's see if they can be able to dig themselves out of this. Coming up, I'm going to tell you if Major League Baseball can save face, if Rob Manfred can save face. It's all even on a Monday.
I am so stressed because I hate my job.
Let me guess. You're at a dead-end job and find it hard not to press the snooze button? Well, come down to Connecticut School of Broadcasting. We have campuses in Westbury, New York, Boston, Connecticut, New Jersey, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Develop your skills in broadcast media that include audio production, television, radio, and sports broadcasting. Learn from industry professionals in a small, intimate class setting for a better experience. The hands-on training is second to none. And if you're worried about what to do after graduation, the Connecticut School of Broadcasting helps you to get job placement. Take it from me. It took me 7 years to get here, and it's been the best time of my life. Go to gocsb.com or dial 1-800-887-2346 for a studio tour. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next media superstar.
Welcome back. So the question is, can Manfred save face? The answer is yes. If you keep the people happy, if you keep your players happy, they will then allow you time to figure it out. But what is the relationship between Manfred and the players? It seems pretty rocky because you're always seeing players come out negatively talking about certain things. So he doesn't have the full support of his players. But if he's empathetic to what's going on, if he shows some type of legitimate care, he has a chance to look like a hero. A public statement. Get out on every show and show that leadership. Show that ability to look empathetic, to look like you have a plan, to look like you know what you're doing. That's the way to get in front of this, is to get in front of it and make sure baseball is at the forefront. You're on every channel, everybody knows what's going on, and you're answering every tough question. That's the way to gain the respect and the trust of your players and to help your sport get past this rocky situation. Maybe a bubble is not the answer. Maybe it's partner up with some hotels around the area and have the players just stay there instead of going home or mingling in society and picking up the virus somewhere and then bringing it back to the team. Maybe they have to be secluded from everybody else. Just play baseball until the baseball season's over. Whatever it is, make sure that the plan is sound, make sure the plan makes sense, and make sure that you, Manfred, come off as believable, as a leader, because God knows we don't have much of that in this country at the moment. And if things couldn't get any worse, New York Mets baseball over the weekend was a disaster. On Saturday was the extra innings game where Edwin Diaz blew the save, and then Sunday was the massacre in Queens. The Mets pitching right now is definitely a chop job. It's a patchwork, makeshift situation that they're just trying to stop the bleeding. But the bats are very anemic right now. Nobody's hitting with runners in scoring position. A lot of strikeouts. So they got to get right. They had a bad weekend, but let's see if they can be able to bounce back. The Yankees, on the other hand, they handled the Nationals just like you expected them to, because they are the favorites to me, as well as the Dodgers, to appear and possibly win the World Series. They were definitely a strong team. They look strong. Offense is clicking. Pitching looks good. The bullpen looks good. The Yankees are in a great spot. I don't see them losing much games in the race to 60. I really don't. I see them losing a handful of games, maybe 15 or 20. That's about it. While on the other side, I have to hope that my team doesn't run out of money to be able to compete. He'll pay Bobby Bonilla $1 million every year for the next 30 years. But in the middle of the season, when it's time to compete, he'll shed $1 million here, $2 million here, just to get under whatever imaginary budget they have. Christ. Coming up, the Jets finally put Jamal Adams out of his misery. It's all leaving on a Monday.
Car trouble? Need a reliable, dependable place to bring your vehicle to? Come to A to Z Auto Radiator and Air Conditioning. We have repaired radiators and ACs and cars with names from A to Z. Big RVs, doesn't matter. A to Z Auto has serviced our community for 42 years and counting. Aluminum welding, bead blasting, new fuel tanks cleaned and relined, custom work on radiators and heaters, we do it all. A to Z Auto, located at 1040 A Hortons Lane in South Hole, New York. Bob never lets a customer leave without a handshake. Come see us.
Yes, sir. Welcome back. You ever had that coworker that used to always complain about his job? Yo, I hate it here. I can't stand it here. Yo, they do nothing but nonsense here, and I can't wait to get out. And then when he gets fired, he's surprised, but he has to act like, yeah, this is what I wanted, man. You know, I can be able to better myself and find another opportunity. And a couple years down the line, you see them. They're not really working. They're in and out of jobs, and they're like, yo, what happened? What's going on? I thought things were supposed to be looking up for you. Oh, well, you know what happened was, I had some problems here and there, and, I'm just trying to figure it out. There's always an excuse of why they're not where they're supposed to be. There's always an excuse of why things don't work out for them. They always hold themselves higher than what they actually are. Case in point, Jamal Adams and the New York Jets. The New York Jets finally agreed to trade Jamal Adams to the Seattle Seahawks. They got back 2 first-round picks and a third, and they traded away Adams and a fourth and got back a veteran in Bradley McDougald. The Jets never wanted to trade Jamal Adams. They loved the guy. He was their franchise player. He was their best player. They didn't have to pay him. He put pressure on them to do something that they didn't have to do. Joe Douglas came out and said he never spoke to Jamal Adams about offering a contract. It never materialized to that point. So who's lying? It really looks bad on Jamal Adams because Le'Veon Bell has come out and taken shots at Jamal Adams. This is a guy that holds himself to the highest regard, but he's not that type of player. You think if he was Ed Reed, the Jets wouldn't have paid him? Jamal Adams is not a great cover safety. He's great on blitz packages, and this is why I know Seattle is going to be able to use him with their exotic blitz packages and be effective. He's not a cover safety. He's not one of those guys that can really help you over the top. He can drop into the box, help you with the run, and blitz. Get a couple sacks. That's his game. That's his strong suit. That's not what the Jets needed. They needed a ball hawk. And they also needed somebody who can be a leader, who's not going to whine and complain about his contract. This is your rookie contract. They don't have to pay you yet, man. It's simple. So you think that you're one of the greatest safeties to ever play this game when you're really not. You're not even top 15, much less top 30. So what are we talking about here? The Jets are going to put themselves in a bad position for him? No, if you're going to put yourself in a bad spot, you're going to put yourself in financial ruin for a franchise quarterback, not for a safety that can't take the ball away. So the big question is, who won the trade? Do we really have to talk about this? The Jets won the trade. They got 2 first-round picks for a middle-of-the-road safety. Think about this. I don't know what Seattle was thinking. Maybe they really think that they're really close to winning a Super Bowl where they feel that they don't need these first-round picks for the next 2 years. I mean, hey, kudos to them. They got a disgruntled player who thinks that he's Ed Reed, and we're going to see how that works in that locker room. A player that since he's been here, the Jets haven't been really good. So if you're the captain of the defense, if you're supposed to be the heart and soul of the defense, and the defense shows no heart year in and year out, isn't that a shot on you, Jamal Adams? I think so. So the Jets now can use these picks to build their team for the future. A team that was already young has now more pieces to build for the future. This is a This is a highway robbery steal for the Jets. This is a Madden trade. You're in a franchise with one of your boys and they don't really know how things work. And you're like, yo, I can give you this player, but yo, give me these 2 first-round picks. You're not going to need them because your team is good, right? You don't need these picks. Oh, yeah, you're right. I really don't need these picks. They don't really understand how the system works. And they press send or deal or accept. And you're just smiling to yourself like, yo, I just fleeced you, bro. Joe Douglas is definitely sitting back in his house right now laughing, listening to every sports radio show that he can just so he can hear that the Jets stole the trade. 5 years from now, we're going to look back at this deal and we're going to say that's what catapulted the Jets back to relevancy. The fact that they were able to either draft really good players in these next 2 years, or what they did was package off these picks to move higher and get themselves a difference maker that changes the defense, that may change the offense. That's what the Jets have just set themselves up with, while Seattle is going to overpay for this guy, and when things don't work and they have to rebuild and break the team down, who do you think is going to be the first one cut? Don't worry, I'll wait. Keeping it in the NFL for a second, the NFLPA sent out a memo to all the agents over the weekend saying that anybody that breaks protocol or doesn't follow the rules in this COVID season will face harsh penalties. So if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it's a possibility that you will not get paid and you'll get cut. This is big news, man. And I hope these athletes are paying attention because this is serious. Take your job seriously. This is just like any other contract. If you sign a contract, then there's certain languages in the contract that say you can't ride a motorcycle, you can't play basketball in the off season, and you go ahead and do those things and hurt yourself, they can void your contract. So it's the same thing. Just do what you gotta do, follow the rules, and nothing will happen. But you already know there are gonna be a lot of players that break rules and don't follow instructions and don't follow protocol. So this is why this memo was sent. It's just to cover their ground, to make sure that they say, listen, we sent out this memo, we have all these things in place, and they're not listening, so, what do you want us to do? We have to take action now. So I'm very curious to see how all of this is going to play out. Coming up next, the Knicks finally get their man. Or did they? On a Monday, it's all even.
Can't believe this is happening again. I'm sick and tired of this car.
We have all been there, stuck on the road with people to see and places to go, so your radiator is busted. No problem. A to Z Auto can have you back on the road in no time. I took my car to A to Z, had a nice cold beverage, and was out of there before I knew it. 42 years of service, you can bet that not only do they take care of your car, but they take care of you. Custom work, nobody does it better. Bob is knowledgeable and can diagnose the problem in a matter of minutes. From his 5-star reviews to the testimonials of customers' experiences, A to Z Auto is top notch. Located at 1048 Hortons Lane in South Hole, New York. Ask for Bob and let him handle the rest. For a free quote, call 631-765-6849 and never get stuck in the heat again.
We back at it. Welcome back. So the Knicks finally have agreed to terms with their next head coach. Tom Thibodeau signs a 5-year deal to be the next head coach for the New York Knicks. How do we feel about that today? The same way I felt about it last week. Bad deal. It's a terrible deal. Why would you sign up for 5 years of Tom Thibodeau style basketball? Tom Thibodeau's never been a great head coach. It's a fact. When he had a great player, he ran him down. That team was shot, and they had to rebuild and dismantle the team. Then for his failures, he gets another opportunity in Minnesota. And not only is he the head coach in Minnesota, but they also give him GM responsibilities. So he runs the team into the ground again and then gives Andrew Wiggins one of the worst contracts in NBA history. That's what Tom Thibodeau does. And because he failed again there, let's give him another chance, right? And why not in the grandest stage of them all, New York City? How many times does somebody have to fail for you to call them a failure? How many chances? 7? 8? How many times is he going to get fired for the same reason, rehired, and then fired for the same reason again? For you to say, yeah, maybe he's not a good coach. It's just like Rex Ryan in New York. He was a great defensive coordinator for the Ravens. Came here, was a decent head coach, but he wasn't great. He's a better coordinator than he is a head coach. Tom Thibodeau is a better defensive strategist than a head coach. He's not a leader. We don't want to see that Homer Simpson hairline that he got on the sidelines. He's not a leader. He's not somebody that commands a locker room. He just doesn't look the part of a great head coach. He doesn't. He looks like a carpet salesman that hasn't made a sale in 6 months. That's what he looks like. How many other young, competent coaches you could have hired? How many? Jason Kidd, Mark Jackson. Hell, you could even gave Mike Miller the job. Mike Woodson, he had great success here. The last time the Knicks were in the playoffs, Mike Woodson was the coach. But yet you hire Tom Thibodeau. Why? Because he was an assistant coach under Jeff Van Gundy 20 years ago? What has he done since? The last time that he was actually good on a real team that he led, the Miami Heat ran all over them. And then once they ran over them, they never came back. So we're hanging on to the Chicago days now. How many coaches like Tom Thibodeau get a chance to keep failing like this? Not many. Because Mike Woodson has yet to get another job. Mark Jackson has less interviews than Tom Thibodeau has had jobs in the last 10 years. Come on now. What are we doing? And New York was supposed to be the ones to try to set things right, to try to do things a little differently. Hire a competent front office staff. Everything is right. The young players are coming along. But look what you do. You hire Tom Thibodeau to be the one to develop these guys? You're hustling backwards. But are we really shocked with the Knicks? They can do one thing right and 15 things wrong. And this is one of them. You know how many of my friends hit me up this weekend depressed? Of all the names, that guy. The guy that sounds like he has 7 frogs in his throat. That guy. The guy who we know has no offensive strategy. That guy. The guy we know that signs bad contracts for players that are very, very overrated. That guy. So what can RJ Barrett look forward to next season? For one, he better get on the treadmill because he's going to play about 40 to 42 minutes a game. He's a primary ball handler. He's going to be able to do everything for Tom Thibodeau because he doesn't run any real offense. It's just give it to your best ball handler, let him break down the defense and figure it out. But yeah, we're going to play great defense. We're going to hold people accountable. That's what he's going to say after the Knicks lose 115-79 because they have no offensive awareness. They have no offensive game plan. It's about defense. It's about defense. You need a progressive coach that can be able to spearhead this team into the next generation. 3 balls, 3 and D, guys that can be able to get out in the break, get out in space, and do something. Tom Thibodeau is not the coach to do that. Who here thinks he's going to survive this 5-year contract? I give it a year and a half until they realize what they did and they're right back in square one. Just get it right the first time. And when the Nets go ahead and go hire Mark Jackson, everybody in New York is going to be pissed off. Oh, that's what we should have got. We should have got him. Yeah, right. Because I hear a lot of Knicks fans as well saying, oh, this is a great hire. It really isn't. It's just the next hire until you do it again. Got to get it right, fellas. Got to get it right. There's rumors that I'm hearing Mike Woodson may take a job on THIBS' staff. If I'm Mike Woodson, I take that job. Because I know the last time I was here as an assistant coach, the head coach got ran out of town and I was the next man up. So please, Mike Woodson, take this job. Because when the wheels fall off the bus, they're going to need you to put them back on and drive that bus to the playoffs. Coming up, the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. On a Monday, it's all leaving. This is a public service announcement. Down on your luck? Tired of being curved? Sick of going out with the fellas and being the only loser without a lady? Well, I got something for you. It's called Sex Panther. Legend has it that it's made out of real bits of real panther, so you know it's good. To men, it stings the nostrils. But to women, you may as well be a slab of meat in a dog pound. And that's not all it does. You could be getting ready to see that special fox and disaster hits. No money in the budget for gas, only dinner for two. No problem. The fumes from Sex Panther can give your car 38 miles to the gallon. Sold you yet? I thought so. For $69.99, go from unlovable loser to the cock in the walk. Sex Panther. 60% of the time, it works. Every time. Here we go. Without further ado, it's the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. We pick contestants on Monday and also on Friday, and then we declare a winner on that Friday show. And the first contestant this week on a Monday is Lou Williams. Now he's because he left the bubble to get wings at a strip club. You can't make this up. Listen, I heard the wings are fire over there. He has a dish that's named after him. I get it. But you're in the process of competing for a championship. You're one of the favorites to win the NBA title. And you go ahead and do this for wings at a strip club? And that's not even the worst part. The fact that he went there like 15 people deep and then took a picture with somebody with a Disney mask on his face. Then the guy was like, oh, no. This was an old picture. Yeah, give me a time in this country where we walked around with masks before this. Fail. The Clippers are already banged up. They have a makeshift team anyway. And now they're missing this dummy. Man, oh man, it just gets more interesting in that bubble. Instead of you being at Magic City, you should have took your behind back to the Magic Kingdom. So Lou Williams, if you never win a championship, just know you're a contestant and possibly a winner for Dummy of the Week. That's all for today. I'll see you guys on Friday. Stay safe. Peace.